Right guys, so I come bearing great news because the larger MacBook Air might launch within the next few months, and so let's delve into what to expect. So Ross Young, a very credible source, has told us display production for the larger MacBook Air has begun, and we should see a release for this in early April. So yeah, that does suggest we could see a spring release, maybe at some sort of April event, and to further back this up, Digitimes has also told us we can expect a release during Q2, which of course is between April and June, and so yes, a spring release is very likely. However, I will say I do have some doubts over this release schedule because Digitimes tells us this should still have the same M2 chip inside, and so Apple's essentially going to be launching the same MacBook they gave us in June last year, but with a new size option. And that would not make a ton of sense because we are also expecting the 13-inch MacBook Air to get the M3 update later this year, which is going to be 3nm. That's a big upgrade. And so why would Apple release the 15-inch with an older chip months before the M3 update? And so there really is only three possibilities that could make sense. Either we see the M3 update in 2024 instead, and the 13-inch and 15-inch are both updated at the same time, which could make sense. The second possibility is that these sources are wrong about the 15-inch's release, and we could see production start in April, but the release should be in October with the 13-inch, and it should get the M3 update later this year. And the final possibility is what Ko suggested, which was giving the 15-inch an entirely new name, because he said we could see the M2 and the M2 Pro in this, and it could be called the regular MacBook. And so if we do see a release in April, that could make more sense, considering the M2 Pro was just released. And so yes, an April release with the M2 and M2 Pro could be possible. But then that begs the question, why would that exist when there's already a 14-inch M2 Pro MacBook in the range? And it would not make a ton of sense for this to get the M2 Pro chip and also be a lot cheaper. So yeah, personally, I still think the second possibility makes the most sense. We see the 15-inch release alongside the smaller 13-inch at some sort of October event. But honestly, I'm just glad we have 15-inch MacBook Airs coming soon because I've been waiting for this. I think this will be the Goldilocks option in the range because there are those like me who want bigger screens but are not willing to pay the price for the 16-inch and also don't need the performance of the M2 Pro chip. And so offering a cheaper 15-inch that should have incredible battery life and should hopefully come with the base M3 chip at around $1,500, that would be nice. And actually, regarding battery life, another reason why I'm hoping this gets the M3 instead is the 3nm process because it should make the chip a lot more efficient, and that could possibly give us 24 or 25 hours of battery life, which is ludicrous, and I could see that being a big selling point. So yes, while I do think a spring release for this might be too good to be true, I'm excited for this to release later in 2023. Now for those wondering what else can we see at the spring event, well, do remember the Mac Pro is still in the works. That could be the flagship release instead, and yeah, that should be interesting enough to announce at an event. Anyways, let's delve into your questions. So regarding the 12-inch MacBook revival being killed off, no one you know says, that's a shame, but hopefully with the M4, M5 chip in the near future with a better manufacturing process, it does return. A 12-inch would definitely be a very, very nice laptop. It would be cool, fast, powerful, and thin. So yes, I'm very much hoping that's the case. Apple should not let go of the 12-inch MacBook design because, as many have said, it's perfect for Apple Silicon because it's a very small and compact laptop, and the efficiency of Apple Silicon would have been ideal for it. And so hopefully once the recession's over, Apple can of course reconsider reviving this. So at Miami 305 BLK says, I think the 12-inch MacBook was driven by Johnny Ive's vision of laptops, and it seems Apple's now trying to distance themselves from radical design and be more utilitarian. So that's actually a very fair point because we saw this with the new MacBooks. They were thicker than the previous generation and gave us back the ports, but that's the way Apple should be going because the consumers wanted the ports back, and so sticking with the utilitarian design does make sense. However, even if the design as we know it does not return, I'm hoping Apple can bring back the 12-inch form factor because it makes so much sense to have a compact sub $1,000 laptop in the range, and so hopefully we do see a new 12-inch MacBook in the near future, but of course, with a MacBook Air inspired design. And Brian agrees with this earlier comment and says, "I've always placed form before function." And yeah, that's definitely the case, and that came as a detriment to the MacBook experience because we had faulty keyboards, we had no ports, and overall I'm happy that Apple's taking a more practical route with the design of their laptops. So Fred says, "I have not used a Mac since 2017 and I would have definitely bought the 12-inch MacBook. Guess I'll just never buy a laptop or desktop again and stick with my M2 iPad Pro." Now this is exactly why the 12-inch MacBook should return, because yes, we have iPads, but they're more restricted with their UI, so for those who want a compact laptop experience, offering a 12-inch MacBook would be nice. You have the much more versatile macOS, and of course a more portable laptop for those coming from iPads. And so yeah, please Apple, do revive this in the near future. So Slow Cuba says a 15-inch M2 or later MacBook Air would be the perfect laptop for me, maybe coupled with an M3 Ultra Mac Studio, but I think since I've already sunk the money into my M1 Mac Mini and M1 Max MacBook Pro, still making payments there, I'll struggle on with what I have. Thanks for the vids. News about the 15-inch Air is welcome, and it will almost certainly be the laptop I'm most likely to buy in the future. And yes, a MacBook Air 15-inch coupled with, of course, a powerful desktop like the Mac Studio would be perfect. For me anyways, the base chips are more than fine for my use. I've yet to max out the M1 chip, and that's why I've wanted a MacBook Air 15-inch, because I do like the bigger size of the 16-inch, but I don't need the extra performance and all the other bells and whistles. I just want the screen size and the base M2 chip. And yeah, I'm very sure this will sell very well. So at Johnny Hogg says, "The greatest thing about a 15-inch Air will be the much better speakers, and a bigger battery, and of course a bigger display." And yes, I'm excited for the battery life with the 15-inch Air because we know how efficient the base M2 chips are, so of course putting that in a 15-inch MacBook with a massive battery inside should give this ridiculous endurance. And I believe the 16-inch right now has 21 hours of battery life with the M2 Pro and the M2 Max. So now imagine a similar sized MacBook with the base M2 chip that could maybe give us 25 hours of battery life. And yeah, I'm also looking forward to the better speakers. The speakers with the 13-inch already are pretty good, but now again with the larger size, the audio quality should be amazing. Anyways, those are my thoughts, but tell me in the comments, when do you think the 15-inch MacBook Air is going to release? Anyways, thank you for watching guys, make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours, and on that note, I'll see you guys in the next one.